throughout Rhode Island, businesses are really challenged to get through this period of time. There's no doubt about it, but we're proud of the fact that Rhode Island's been a leader in the region in addressing it. Now, we were the first in New England to reopen after the initial phase of the crisis. We did so through responsible guidance, restrictions that would enable businesses to be open. That wasn't easy for any business, but our remarkable small businesses managed to do it, and we set the precedent for the region. We have all along kept certain industries open. We never closed construction or manufacturing in Rhode Island, not once, not at all. We kept it open all the way through. And as we have, of necessity, had restrictions in place, we've also offered financial relief. So we're very proud of the fact that we've had two workhorse programs. One is called the Restore Rhode Island Small Business Grant Program. And another is the Pause grants that went out during the pause, Ryan. And we're pleased that the Restore program has funded approximately $45 million to 3,300 businesses all over Rhode Island, every single city and town. And that the pause grants are now up to 1,500 grants out the door, totaling $35 million. That's on top of the Restore program. All of that, Ryan, while our neighboring states, Connecticut and Massachusetts, are still working to get their programs up and running. We started making our initial Restore grants in August. 4 months later, Connecticut and Massachusetts are getting their programs up and running. Now, to their credit, they're doing it. So we applaud them. Massachusetts made some announcements today about how they're getting going with making grants. We've been making grants for 4 months. We're way ahead of the rest of the region. And on a proportionate basis, Ryan, we are far outspending our neighboring states of Massachusetts and Connecticut. Connecticut, on a proportionate basis, cut it per capita, cut it per business, we're spending 8 times them, 8 times what they're spending. And in terms of Massachusetts, on a proportionate basis, cut it per capita, cut it per business, 15 times the expenditure. So Lil Rhodey is doing its best to help our small businesses. We still have a long way to go.
Yeah, I know last week there were more than 200 grants given out, totaling more than $16 million. Yes. There are still businesses out there that have not been able to get a grant, have not applied for a grant. What resources are still available out there for businesses?
So the federal deadlines are upon us for the CARES Act money that came from the feds. So unfortunately, new programs don't exist for grants out of those dollars. We, however, saw this moment coming. Even though we have far outspent our neighbors on a proportionate basis, we knew it would still not be equal to the task. So we have set up a loan fund through an organization called Enhanced Capital. We had to negotiate hard. We took them to the negotiating table after there was some legislation passed authorizing such lending programs for small businesses pre-COVID. We knew that in the COVID world, we'd have to reshape this program. We negotiated that. We got a $20 million loan program set up with $15 million specifically set aside for COVID impacted Rhode Island businesses. So go to the commerceri.com website. If you are a business person, you're looking for loans, maybe it's on top of grants you've gotten. Maybe it is that you haven't been eligible for or just haven't had the opportunity to apply for other federal or state resources. Check out the Enhanced Capital Small Business Loan Program. They just started taking applications a couple weeks ago, so it's brand new.
I don't know if businesses are getting their hopes up, but maybe you can help see through all of the cloudiness in there. Stimulus bill passed last night federally. Is there any hope for small businesses in any of the packages there?
Yes. Now, the bills are just moving through the full House and Senate. So we literally have not received the statutory language yet. But all reports from Congress, reports from major media outlets are roughly in consensus that there's going to be a new payroll protection program, PPP program, and a new EIDL loan program. It's one of the SBA, Small Business Administration's loan products. We believe those will be in the bill. Now, we want to read the bill. We want to see what actually passes. But we believe that this is good news. It is not enough, but it is good news. PPP provided well in excess of $2 billion of financial assistance to small businesses in Rhode Island alone. Over $2 billion the first round. We in Commerce here in Rhode Island work to help especially unbanked businesses, businesses without banking relationships, get linked with lenders, including those that we recruited, to get some dollars secured for these unbanked businesses, most vulnerable businesses. We're probably going to have to gear up like that again. That's a good problem to have. We do not think, though, Ryan, that this new congressional package, if it's approved and if it's signed at the White House, we do not believe that it contains new CARES Act dollars for states to run small business grant programs as a supplement to a critical supplement to those PPP loans and EIDL loans. So there's still work to do just in terms of getting sufficient federal resources to our businesses. We are pleased, though, to see that some new steps have been taken. It's been a long time coming. It's been too long that the feds have been without new action.
3 months, 6 months before businesses possibly get back to somewhere normal. What do you see coming down the line that the state as well as federally is going to have to be done just to keep these businesses going until we get somewhere back to normal?
Well, part of the solution is reasonable, practical, insightful management of the pandemic. And quite frankly, we have not had that coming out of Washington to date. I think it's very healthy that the president-elect speaks of a mask mandate that would be nationwide for the first 100 days in some form, mandate or guidance or an exemplary policy, whatever the case may be. Such a strong policy would be advantageous in that we need the message coming from everywhere. It shouldn't be that some states are doing it, some aren't. That there's no debate. Masks are powerful. I'll tell you, as someone who's recently exited quarantine, bless her, Dr. Nicole Alexander Scott unfortunately did contract COVID. She is a gem of a professional and a human being. And a small handful of us were in a conference room and on a stage with her through the governor's routine press conferences. I just exited quarantine myself. One of the reasons that none of the rest of us contracted COVID is we were wearing masks when we were together. We were in a conference room prepping. We were on stage together. We were certainly proximate. We were wearing masks. It's not foolproof, but it matters. It helps. They work. So we need to see strong policy making and advocacy and messaging from Washington. In addition, the management on the ground needs to be good. In Rhode Island, we opened first. In New England, we were the state that reopened after the initial COVID crisis. We opened first. We opened outside dining first, opened indoor dining first, opened certain personal services first, opened gyms first. We've been open the longest in the region, and we've been managing the crisis for the longest, as this balance for the longest. We need to keep doing that. In addition, to answer your question further, Ryan, we do need additional financial resources. It's got to be both. It's got to be solid management in a balanced, practical, intelligent manner of the crisis in public health and the economy. And it's got to be also supplemental, crucial financial relief.
One of the things I like to always ask about and we try to talk about is, you need the silver lining, business owners. I was talking to a restaurant who's closing and we're working on a story on that. Hope. It's our state motto. What hope can you share? What hope is there out there for the small business owner that's just struggling to pay their employees, pay themselves, pay their rent? There's grants, there's loans, but what is there in hope that people are going to get through this?
I think it's about the ingenuity, the innovativeness, the persistence, and the genius of Rhode Island business people. That's the hope. So obviously we were the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution. Of course, from Slater Mill forward, we've been the fount of innovation. Of course, we were founded on the notion of the lively experiment, which, though initiated as pertains to religious concernments, really informs and animates everything that we do, the lively experiment. In the midst of this crisis, Ryan, we have seen the lively experiment. We have seen the revolution in thinking come out of Rhode Island businesses who've managed to pivot dramatically and do the things that they need to do to survive. It's been really hard, and we can't rely solely upon that. We need the financial resources. We need the solid, intelligent management surrounding them. But for example, we have seen a local website company set up a website now known as shoplocalrhodeisland.com. They use their ingenuity to set up a platform which we have since enhanced and helped with. It's Lori Guattari and Scott Indermauer at Visual Thrive of Rhode Island, a website company, tech company right here in Rhode Island. They set up what turns out to be what has evolved to be shoplocalrhodeisland.com. What does that enable? That enables businesses all over Rhode Island to register for free, shops, stores, other small businesses, register for free. It's not too late, and it's enabling Rhode Islanders who decide to stay home and Rhode Islanders who decide to venture out to shop local, and if they so choose, and if they're the ones who are trying to stick close to home, shop digital. So there's over 1,900 businesses listed on the site, over 33,000 unique visitors in the last 25 days, Ryan. So first of all, I'd ask all Rhode Islanders listening to this show, please shop online. You don't have to go to one of those big fancy national platforms to do it. You can do it right here in Rhode Island via shoplocalrhodeisland.com. And let me give you another example. On Federal Hill, the Federal Hill Commerce Association has put together another program. Rhode Island Commerce has funded it. That's allowing free delivery for food from restaurants, for goods from other shops in the Atwells area, the Federal Hill region, to people who live within X miles. I think it's 12 miles of Federal Hill. Up and running, we help to fund it. Look at that ingenuity, finding opportunity. And what they've done, they've even repurposed some of the valets who would otherwise be parking cars on Federal Hill for the purpose of delivery. I've done it myself. I have also shopped on the website that I've just mentioned, shoplocalrhodeisland.com. It's a pleasure, and it's a way of supporting businesses. Then there's the individual businesses that are pivoting. I'm not going to keep gabbing, but there's individual restaurants that are finding new ways to do business, individual manufacturers that are putting out PPE right here in Rhode Island. All of these folks are figuring out how to adapt. There's this company, last thing, because you get me going on innovation in Rhode Island. Graphene Composites is a Rhode Island company, have other locations in the world, important Rhode Island presence, really an emerging Rhode Island presence. They believe that they've figured out, ready for this, a COVID-killing ink, I-N-K, ink, that can be spread on surfaces that kills COVID nearly instantaneously. It's under evaluation, under investigation by Brown medical researchers. And we've been, helping them orchestrate and figure it out. We just funded them with what we call 401 Tech Bridge, which is an intermediary organization, to help bring this product ultimately to market. God forbid there should be other pandemics where there are viruses that, frankly, would confront humanity. This kind of ink may be useful in the future. Rhode Island innovation is part of the reason for hope. No one knows it better. No one's given birth to more of it than us here in Rhode Island.
And we, I mentioned that, a restaurant closing, but I should say, we wrote about a new brewery opening today. We wrote about a new restaurant opening in the east side of Providence last week. over the weekend, Newport Dino, Anthony Spiritos, launched a delivery service.
I heard
able
about
to get
that.
Our favorite Newport restaurant delivered to Portsmouth, and it was a piece of cake. So
look at that.
You need to keep your eyes open and look around and see that people are innovating, especially restaurants. I've seen restaurants do exceptional things, and every business that I try to get out to and support, they're all going above and beyond. Let's just do a quick recap here. Status of funding for small businesses. If people are waiting on any applications, waiting on any grants,
yes.
It's pretty much come to an end for 2020.
It has, but people are still receiving. And for example, the pause grants for businesses that faced restrictions or closures during the pause to try to contain the virus. Many have received emails by the hundreds and are now receiving their electronic deposits or their checks. So if you're in that camp, we're pleased for you, and stay tuned for your actual deposit or the receipt of your check. We are now working on more resources. The feds may be coming through with more. We all have to read the actual legislative language, and we'll be here at Rhode Island Commerce to help you secure your PPP loans, your EIDL loans, and beyond. But in addition, there are these new loan products. So look out for, if you need a loan. We know not every business wants to take on a loan. We totally get that. But if you need more capital, additional financing sources are available. Enhanced Capital is the company, the lender that set that one up under parameters we negotiated. Check out the commerceri.com website. I want to thank all the small businesses out there that are finding the way to make it through. I want to thank those small business people who are finding the time to advocate for your own interests, to keep yourselves afloat and our entire economy afloat, including the Small Business Coalition. I want to thank our governor for having rallied the resources and led us through this entire crisis, including the economic crisis, so soundly. I want to thank Lieutenant Governor McKee, who's been a stalwart advocate and has provided ideas and feedback. It's a coalition of people who are making this happen. And Ryan, we need everyone's energy, everyone pushing in the direction of economic momentum.
And just a little kudos from a familiar name to you. Mr. Keith Stokes says you're doing great work. So
what a good man.
Kudos. Financial resources, one more time.
Phenomenal person. What a great professional. Go ahead, please, Ryan.
Sorry, just wanted to go over financial resources for small businesses one more time.
Sure. Check out commerceri.com. Look for especially the lending products, because those are still open. And I'm going to ask you to look for Enhanced Capital. That's one. And there's also something that's a longer standing small business a small business loan program that the Raimondo administration was the first to set up. We didn't have a lending program when we arrived in office. There wasn't a state financed program. It's called the Small Business Assistance Program, or SBAP. And that is also available. So check those both out on the commerceri.com website. And we're grateful to everyone who's been bringing the momentum to our economy despite the challenges. Let me give you a couple other stats, Ryan, because you are kindly giving us the opportunity. I want Rhode Islanders to feel good about the fact that by rallying together, we are making progress economically. Between April, right in the throes of the crisis when it first began, and November, the last recorded month in terms of economic data, our unemployment rate fell at a rate that was in the top 10 in the country, one of the 10 best reductions in unemployment, number 9 in the country, better than, by the way, Connecticut or Massachusetts. And I think that's in part because, and by the way, we wish them well. They're our regional neighbors. They're our brothers and sisters. And they're managing the crisis as best they can. But what I wanted to note is we were the first to reopen. We were the first to put CARES Act money into small businesses' hands starting in August. We've been undertaking this all the way through. I think that matters in terms of affecting economic measures like our unemployment rate. We're going to keep seeing progress so that Rhode Islanders keep their jobs, find new jobs, and so that our businesses stay afloat.
And finally, we talked about Shop Local Rhode Island, and it is 4 days before Christmas.
Yes.
You could visit that website, and perhaps
great for last minute
I
shopping.
just thought about it. 2020 might be the year it's okay to give a gift card to a local shop.
You know it would be a great thing. And many of them are displaying that on their websites. You click, get to their site, you can buy them a gift. You can buy a gift card for the purpose of, check out, wonderful small shops like Rhody Craft comes to mind that make Rhode Island specific gifts. And something, if you've already bought your gifts and you're not last minute shopping, why wouldn't you support a handful of the Rhode Island businesses on there? I know times are tough. Some people can't financially afford it. I don't mean to make light, but if you have a couple dollars that you might be able to contribute somewhere and you were thinking about one of those big national platforms, you know what I'm talking about? Instead of thinking about those, think about delivery right there in Newport. Think about delivery if you're in the Providence area, right in the Federal Hill area. Think about shoplocalrhodeisland.com. Make a purchase or two.
And finally, Scott asks a question, and it might spark something in you. So sounds like he's in construction. Will the federal state think about the needs of funds more than just opening it up to any business? Construction was not heavily as affected with the PPP.
Right.
Are there going to be? Yes.
Will it be need-based? My understanding is we've got to see the legislation, and peculiarly through all of the media reports, there has not been a draft released yet, to my knowledge. So it maybe in the course of the late afternoon or early evening, there has been or will be. But my understanding is that there will be a focus on some of the more vulnerable sectors. Now, I will point out, by the way, some construction and manufacturing companies are still struggling. We've kept these industries open all the way through the crisis. And we're proud of that. But some, even in Rhode Island, are still struggling, and some across the country. But having said that, certain sectors like restaurants, the arts, hotels, certain industries are having trouble accessing the federal PPP program, or we're not eligible for X, Y, and Z reasons. And I believe there'll be an emphasis on or increased access for these sectors and subsectors. So let's all keep our eyes open and see if we have to advocate more. I know we will have to advocate more. We're going to need more resources on top of this $900 billion or whatever the precise amount turns out to be. But let's see if we can get this particular program right in the meantime.
And Stefan, let's touch base in January when we know more and we can provide more updates. Because I'm sure first couple weeks of January we'll get a lot more information, be able to share it. Was there anything that we missed today?
No, just this isn't something we missed. Very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone. Sometimes it may be hard to be merry. It may be hard to feel happy because it's been an enormously difficult 2020. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. The vaccines have started to roll out. We are seeing economic momentum. We have just emerged from the pause in Rhode Island. We are leading the way in the region in terms of reopening, in terms of providing relief, in terms of advocating at the national level with our federal officials. There's reason for hope. There will be a far better 2021 in the course of time, far better 2021. So happy holidays and happy new year to all. And thank you so much for your patience and perseverance.
Of course. And we have the governor tomorrow, a Tuesday at 1:00.
Fantastic.
And she'll be on tomorrow. So we will look forward to that. And just to follow up to Scott in his construction, we have struggled a little bit, but I feel I've been allowed to remain open. So I feel for those that have been restricted more. And
thank you, Scott.
There's the spirit. So
I know. I love it because, we understand that you've struggled, but you've made it through and you're thinking about others. I mean, isn't that Rhode Island? It's beautiful.
Yes. All right, sir. Well, we appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you and yours. And we will chat with you
very much. Merry Christmas.
In the new year.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. And we want to thank Stefan Pryor for joining us. CommerceRI.com for all of that great information for funding, for financial resources, and for much more. And then Shop Local Rhode Island if you are looking to do some shopping for a loved one, family member, or for yourself. Why not? I want to thank Stefan Pryor for joining us. We will be back tomorrow. The governor will be on at 1 o'clock. We'll have that for you live on whatsupnoop.com as well as on our Facebook page. We'll also lining up a couple other interviews. Thanks for watching.